Well, I think whether you're one employee or just starting off a business or you're 800 employees, it's crucial to have a vision and ensure that everyone within the organization from day one going forward knows where you're going and why. I think that's a critical piece to success.
A lot of the people that left just for a bigger paycheck, they weren't as ingrained in the organization. So I think we're going to see a real return.
This episode of Multifamily Forward is brought to you by Zark Parking Solutions, the parking solution trusted by property managers everywhere. We all know nothing frustrates residents more than not being able to find a parking spot. It's one of those daily hassles that can quickly turn into a major headache. But with Zark Parking Solutions, this problem is a thing of the past. Imagine having a simple, easy-to-use app that brings the solution right to your fingertips. Zark Parking is designed specifically for apartment complexes, offering seamless parking management that keeps both residents and their guests happy. From temporary leases for guest parking to streamlined resident parking management, Zark has you covered. So if you're ready to elevate your community and bring convenience home, look no further than Zark Parking Solutions. So, what is more important than hiring good talent? Gentlemen, Jordan Gaspari, pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. John, we have always been a people-first company, correct? Mm-hmm. And we talk within the industry, not just this multifamily industry, we talk just every individual industry about the challenges, not with just the workforce labor, but also finding the right type of talent. And there's nobody better. Thank you again for joining us here. Mr. Jordan Gaspari, a fellow Chicagoan. We just talked off camera a little bit ago.
And a fellow Italian.
We're you got the sandwich, the Italian sandwich.
That's right.
Right? Feels good, doesn't it?
Solid.
Just give us,
yeah.
I know.
5-star.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what we wanted to hear. Managing Partner of Exclusent. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me. When I was kind of an unknown guy back in 2020, I started our podcast. John was, I think, guest number 7. And at the time, it was like, who is this guy? So he took a little bit of a leap of faith on us. He came on.
I didn't know I was doing that. Yeah. I surely don't know now. So appreciate you having me.
I'm going to make time.
So again, Jordan, thank you so much. I mean, I was watching a number of different videos. First off, we already mentioned fellow Italian, fellow Chicagoan, moved here in what year?
03.
Had some good time here.
Yeah.
How did you even think about this line of work?
So my dad actually was in it and built a career in it. And
sure.
He was my idol growing up. So he could have been a truck driver and I would have, followed what he was doing and wanted to emulate. So that's where it started, just kind of being around him. He would bounce ideas off me. I was probably too young to be talking about some of the things that, we were talking about.
Yeah.
But I think, next, as you both know, most important decisions in people's lives are where do they choose to live, the partners they settle down with or not, and then, where they work. And so the more I got into it, the more you understand how much of an impact you can make. The ball kind of started rolling from there.
Well, speaking of impact, how big of an impact and the importance of it is it for an employer in hiring the right type of talent?
I think, 3 of us know certain businesses are going to fail no matter what. Certain businesses just have a great market positioning, great product, a great service, and they can get away with having subpar talent, right? But for 60 to 70% of businesses that are in that middle ground, people is what makes up the difference. And I know John and I connected at first because, I loved his story of being a service-oriented guy who started at a community, believed in the vision, and worked his way up. I think it's one of those things that everybody knows, but until you're in it, managing people, every value proposition in business, in my opinion, relies on the quality of the people and how engaged or not engaged they are in what they're doing and who they're working with.
Yeah. John, we've talked about your path through Mark Taylor, from days of San Cervantes,
sure.
20 plus years. Do you remember how many total family members we had when you first started with Mark Taylor as a whole?
It was a low number.
It was a low number?
Now,
Yeah.
I would guess that we had, I think, 9 communities when I signed on, or 10.
And we're now over 800
Correct.
total family members. What is the impact for us? I mean, we talk about just being a people-driven organization, always have been, always will be. What is the level of impact that you see for us now, not just us from Mark Taylor, but as for the industry, multifamily?
Well, I think whether you're one employee or just starting off a business, or you're 800 employees, it's crucial to have a vision and ensure that everyone within the organization from day one going forward knows where you're going and why. I think that's a critical piece to success. I think additionally that group of new hires and so on, as they grow within the organization, they have to have, a feeling of value. They have to be valued. They have to have a purpose that they can connect to your mission or your vision. And if they can connect, that's when they engage. And that's when they start to push the organization forward.
Right.
So I think all of those things are key. I looked at my notes this morning in preparation for this, because this guy's always ready. So I had to be ready. But 2 of the books I've read in the last year that involve A players, aside from Reed Hastings, CEO, founder of Netflix, but Who by Randy Street and Jeff Smart, and Time, Talent, and Energy by Eric Groton and Michael Mankins. So I won't give the whole summary, but if you think about the book Who, and I know you've read it, they talk about identifying A players and being very specific with your job description and the role that they'll be taking on. And as we know, A players elevate the rest of that group or team. And if you focus on time, talent, and energy, they talk a lot about unlocking talent. So when you identify someone that's A-talented, we'll pick Miss Allison Salit, soon to be Russell,
Yes.
who helps produce this. She started in a certain role, but we've really pivoted her into some more of the consulting work and project management, because she is, A-talented and can push us forward
100%.
in that direction. And there's many others. I'm just giving her kudos because she puts this on with Brian. So I think making sure you're repurposing your talent, making sure that you're a company that pushes them, allows them to grow. It doesn't make it easy for them, but it makes them excel and push forward. So it's really unlocking that talent and finding A players.
And I'm not just saying this because I'm on your podcast. I mean, like, you look at a lot of the people in your organization and there's a clear progression, and they start in one department and you highlight their skills. Because, the 3 of us have been around long enough. Talk is cheap, right? Like, most companies say the same kind of things, especially during, the hiring boom of 2021, 2022. Everyone was kind of saying the same things, and I think the proof is in the pudding on who's staying committed to it through up markets, through down markets, and can show, hey, these are the people that started here, and this is what they grew into, and we take care of our people first, and I know that's how you've built this business.
It's a must-have, as part of the secret sauce.
Yeah,
even though it's not a secret.
But you're doing it. I mean, you're
Don't tell
walking the
anybody.
walk.
Don't tell anybody.
That's our focus.
Jordan, talking about building a business, I mean, you took a very large leap of faith back in 2018, right? An entrepreneur spirit, starting Exclusent.
Yeah.
Let's share with some of the other fellow entrepreneurs out there. What does it take? What's most important?
I mean, first of all, timing. Like, back in 2018, I wasn't even engaged, no kids.
Easy life.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I think, you got to be in the right place in your life and know that it's going to take everything that you have and then some. And then, really just thinking about being in a space you're passionate about. And people, we've talked about this before, they underestimate what they can accomplish in 6 months or a year. And I'm sorry, they overestimate what they can accomplish in 6 months to a year, and then they underestimate what they can do in 5 or 10.
Yeah.
And our industry is saturated. Part of it is just kind of a war of attrition. You keep improving, you keep at it, you keep building your client roster, taking care of them, and then the rest kind of falls into place. But a lot of people aren't in a place in their life to commit to it long enough to kind of see that through.
Yeah.
And that's where most businesses fail, right? Because they have no idea what they're getting into, and then they run out of money, and they're back kind of where they started. So I think, having the right expectations, being in the right place in your life, and knowing that it's probably going to be the hardest thing you'll ever do, and you got to take the punches and keep going and keep improving.
Love it. Yeah, although a different path, Mr. Jeff Mark and Mr. Scar Taylor, they've built a legacy here at Mark Taylor, as well with you, Michael, Dustin, the entire leadership, and of course everyone that is just long-term, long tenure. I can name off just 20 plus names right now, which I would like to, but in the essence of time, I'll make sure I hold back here. How does the spirit still ring true to you today, I guess is a better way to ask it.
No question. They are the foundation or the pillars of the organization. They really created something special, and we've been allowed the opportunity to really carry that legacy forward. So it's really important that we maintain that exceptional legacy in terms of their vision, but also you have to future-proof yourself, right, as an organization. So if you think about it, I like to think of, I've said this in many meetings, we're a startup with 39 years of experience, 40 years next year. And I think you have to have that mindset. And, Peter Drucker will say, the best way to see the future or get into the future is to build it, right? You have to build the future. And I know I paraphrased a bit, but one thing that you mentioned that this kind of spawned a thought, and I think back to Angela Duckworth, the Grit book, which is fantastic. So two things you mentioned: perseverance, and the second piece, which I think is often misconstrued. People will say you have to have perseverance and passion. Well, I'm passionate about certain things, but it's really more about, I could be passionate about playing baseball, but I'm not going to be in the Major League Baseball circuit, right? But it's about sustained effort.
Yes.
So you go back to Simon Sinek, we've talked about this, and his story about, you can go work out one day for 3 hours or go play basketball. I know you're a great basketball player, but if you don't continue to shoot for 3 hours a day and work on your free throws and your game, you're not going to get better. But if you do that at a sustained effort, right? You do that 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, you fast forward 2 years, that's where the sustained effort pays off, because now you're completely different. You're a different player. And I think as an organization, you have to be better than yesterday. And if you're not focused on the future, you're going to miss out. So, take the pillars of the organization, the original vision, and just really stay true to that, but build, get better, and focus on the future. See around the corner.
Great.
Yeah.
Jordan, you have, and I love this. This is fantastic. You have two things that you're known for saying in business: relationships and results. I love that. I absolutely love that. How do you carry that motto into your business?
But you guys did your research. This is just a great operation all around. Because to dig
all
that,
alley.
I said that a while ago.
Yes.
They went back into the archives.
Went deep.
That's
Good thing it wasn't bad. I think, in professional services, you're selling ahead of your delivery typically. And you have to be able to trust that I'm going to come through for you. And if, we run across a variable that we didn't know coming in, that I'm going to do what I got to do to take care of you and figure it out, and vice versa. And that comes from having a relationship that you can rely on and know who I am and what I'm about. Beyond just business is more fun when you're doing it with people that you like and, you have kind of shared ideals. But marrying that with results, right? You could love me more than your wife, right? But if I can't deliver on the service that we're trying to provide, and it's the same for you in your business, then it doesn't matter. So the results piece is just kind of having, which I know you have, it's a binary thing. Like, we're going to figure it out no matter what we run into. And the excuses for why we can't, or the challenges, everybody has those same excuses. And are we going to be the one to kind of get through it and figure it out, or not? And I think we see, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but younger professionals sometimes struggle with that because they're in an environment and there's challenges that are absolutely outside of their control. And it's easy to, I know when I've gotten into the workforce, 10 years ago, I would sit back and be like, hey, I could be doing better here, but we got to figure this out. And our customers doing this, and our C-suites made this decision I don't agree with. And it's like, the quicker people just take ownership for doing the best that they can with what they have, right? The ripple effects across the organization are going to be noticeable, and also, obviously, it's going to help their career.
Of course. John, how does this play into how we run our organization here?
I mean, I think there's a lot of variables within that. I think you really have to. There's no true playbook or design mechanism for how you work through things. And in terms of business challenges of today, just look at the last 5 years, going back to 2020, and all the challenges that have transpired since then.
Sure.
Things that were black swans, things that we can't control. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think it's easier when I was younger to get frustrated. Like, I don't have the answers. Woe is me.
Yeah.
Easy to play the victim card. Yeah. I look at it as an opportunity, right? And I think if you have the infinite mindset, you focus on the things that truly matter for your organization and yourself, that you stick to that value system, you really focus on your guiding principles, your values, and you push forward and you persevere. And it goes back to the last statement. I mean, I think sustained effort and just pushing through. You got to push through and work through it. It's easy to quit. It's easy to group think.
Yes.
I think part of being infinite is really thinking outside the box. I know that's an overused statement, but you have to really challenge yourself with, okay, if everyone's going this way, why? And does it make sense to go that way? Zig when someone else zags. And I think you have to be really thoughtful in that. And the easy thing is just to go, well, I'm just going to go follow the herd, right? And lots of people do that.
Right.
But it's harder to ask questions. It's harder to dig. Yes. I think everyone today has to do that. You have to really, there's so much noise. There's so much information in this world. You really have to carve out good questions and focus on really challenging the general norms and finding out what the true information is, and then making your own decision, because it's still hard. You're going to get 17 different versions, right? You're going to have, of course, this paper, this news outlet, this X. I mean, all of these things are so diverse in terms of information flow that you really have to stay focused. So being laser focused on the things that matter, pushing yourself forward, all of those things are important.
I'm interested. I'm going to throw this question at both you guys, because I'm just interested as far as just getting your opinion on it. I don't know if it has anything to do with just my personal experiences over time, just throughout my professional career, longevity, commitment to your current job, your current employer. I believe it's always a two-way street. It's an agreement between both, right? Yes. You have to show up and be ready to work, want to work. Yes. You're not going to always agree with the direction that certain companies go. It's just part of life. Yeah. Do you find, or do you see or feel that the long-term tenured employee, you don't hear, oh, I've been at this company for 10 years as much as I used to. And I don't know if that's just my opinion. Is there fact behind that? Do you see that happen? Because there's so many more opportunities, many more organizations that may pay you a little bit more money. Where do you see that changing as far as current generations now?
It's a great question, Adam. I think we've seen a real swing, and the compensate. I mean, we didn't place anyone in 2021 and 2022 and the first half of last year that we didn't get at least a 25% raise for, which you're not going to get that. When you stay.
That's significant.
But those days are largely over right now, and I think we're always kind of on the cutting edge of what's happening in the market and sentiment. And I mean, you guys know market sentiment is like 6 months behind what's actually happening.
Of course.
And I think it's starting to catch up now that there is value in staying, because a lot of the people that left just for a bigger paycheck, right? They were first one in, or last one in, first one out, because they didn't have as deep rooted relationships. They didn't have as, they weren't as ingrained in the organization. So I think we're going to see a real return, hopefully, because we don't want to, I mean, obviously movement's good for our business within reason, because there becomes a point where it's like musical chairs and business becomes much more difficult to get done when stakeholders are constantly slotting in and out. So long-winded way of saying, I don't know, John, what you think. I think the return of longer tenure is going to play out over the next few years, because companies are being more conservative with what they're offering unproven people that haven't shown in their business model.
Yeah, I think there's lots of elements of influence due to that. I think you always have to look at the overall economic cycle and job component pressures. Are we 3% unemployed or 10% unemployed? And that swings with the courses of economic swings, right? Yes. So I think we're getting back to some more normalcy in terms of the workforce. And I think there is a component of, I think if you're longer in the tooth or a bit more experienced, you look at things from a valuation perspective a little differently. Is it just the per hour number?
Yeah.
No, what's the benefits as you age a bit? No, what's the culture really like? What's the environment? Will I be supported, empowered, and given the tools to be successful? Is it just a grind? And not saying it's a grind from a sector perspective, but it's a grind because, my boss does this.
Yeah.
And I say boss, not leader. A leader really empowers their teams. They build future leaders. So if you're just micromanaging and grinding, that's an element for a disaster long term. And that person can leave today. But I think the return of, no, I'm going to find a great company. I'm going to make a good living. I'm respected. We support each other. I think those are elements of, it's a more familial. And it's better for business long term.
Yes.
You guys are pretty awesome. You guys are pretty awesome. So I'm reading between the lines here. Is that why you get angry at me every morning when I come in and say, "Hey, boss"?
That could be a myriad.
It just
there's a
dawned
lot of
on me.
underlying
There's just something there.
elements to that.
Yeah.
It could be your bad fantasy drafting. It could be. I think
Shots fired.
as always, I prefer colleague, not boss.
You do. I know
supporter,
you're
yes.
you're a fantastic leader. Well, I'm going to continue
Getting
telling
better.
you anyways.
Getting
Yes,
better.
Jordan. Can't say thank you enough again for all the insight. This is fantastic. If you've seen a couple episodes, which I know you have, we always end with a little bit of what we're grateful for today.
Okay.
Right? Making sure we're aware of what we have around us. Life tends to punch you in the gut from time to time, right? So being able to just be self-aware that, hey, this isn't actually that bad.
Yeah.
What if you don't want to go first? I'll turn it to JC. I don't want to put you on the spot.
No,
you got this?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
No.
My fellow paisan, of course you do. What are you grateful for today,
talk.
Jordan?
Italians
Yes, we can.
I think I've got a toddler and a 5-month-old at home, a beautiful wife, and just that's like helped me slow down a lot. Because if we sat here 5 or 6 years ago, I was like just type A, kind of, a little bit too extreme on just expectations of myself and our business and our clients, and I'm grateful for my family and that helping me slow down and say I'm grateful to be passionate about what I get to do every day. And, I don't feel like that every day, right? But
Of course.
I think long-winded answer, but
Not at all.
I think
Not
you
at all.
should give a shout out to the kids. So
I think
that
you
when they're
should.
old enough to understand this.
I
they
mean,
can say,
Jax
Dad.
is kind of a pain in the what right now, but
We'll cut that one out. We'll cut that one out.
No, you got to leave that in, Jax. Sorry, Jax.
But yeah, and
So, talking about slowing down, right? You just mentioned having a family, just appreciating the time spent. You and I have talked about this personally, just on outside of work, just as far as us being friends. The times that you have to make decisions on how much you're willing to sacrifice, right? To continue, right? Because everyone's definition of success is always different.
Sure.
It's always different. Everyone's outlook is always going to be different on what the meaning of success is. I learned pretty hard. There's a level, there's a limit to the amount of sacrifice you can make when it comes to your own family and to your professional career.
Yes.
Right. That was great. Appreciate you saying that. JC, what are you grateful for today, my friend?
Well, it just made me think of something, and
Yeah.
it's our dear friend Kenny McElroy's birthday,
Happy birthday.
today.
Happy
So
birthday,
Kenny.
The GOAT.
So I sent a note. I just said, hey, if you haven't seen the video of Jeremy Piffin getting interviewed at a basketball game, he just says life is extremely finite.
Yeah.
So get after it, and he uses the F-bomb, like get after it, right?
Yeah.
And I think, there is a component of work-life balance, right? We want to give here and give there. There's only so many hours in the day, so just get after it. Like, be efficient. Everyone's always busy. I think I have bad analogies for everyone's busy, but everyone's busy. Are you focused on things that truly matter?
Yeah.
Right? Do you follow the 20/80 rule? Are you really engaging in things that elevate yourself, your family, your career, your work family, all of those things? And I just think I'm truly grateful to be supported on both sides. And I think there's an element of, I've always, I think in the last 10 years, focused on people that want to lift me up.
Yeah.
And I'll do the same for them. I will reciprocate all day long, and I'll lift them
Yeah.
up even if they don't want to lift me up. But I'm going to spend more time on the people that want to build a foundation of successful relationships long term.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for everyone that's taken a chance on me in my life, and give me an opportunity. And I want to thank Jeff and Scott today because they've given me an opportunity at this great company.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't directly hire me, like Michelle Sinclair out there. Thank you, Michelle. Hope you're doing well at Wolf. I know you started there recently, but I appreciate those that given me a chance. That's it.
I want to give you a hug right now, man.
Hey, man.
I just
me
want to
too.
give you a hug right now.
Let Brian cut.
What about you?
All right, you guys are gonna love this
Yeah.
because the timing on this could not have been more perfect. I
Caleb
let
Williams?
you not Caleb Williams, even though we will win the NFC
Hey,
North. Don't
let's
worry
go,
about it.
baby.
Come on, go Bears, down Bears. Had a business lunch. I was over at the Henry, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. Sitting there, we're just chatting, having a conversation with my who I was having lunch with, trying to keep this a little brief, it not giving out names.
Okay.
The waiter, who was fantastic, by the name, great job. Rory, you did a fantastic job. Keep up the great work out there, buddy. Did a great job. He ran my credit card, and of course it said Mark Taylor Residential on it, right? He comes back, he goes, "Hey, do you work at one of the Mark Taylor properties, or are you at corporate?" I was like, "No, I work at corporate." I said, "How did you," and it didn't dawn on me that it's caught it from the credit card.
Yeah.
"How did you know I work for Mark Taylor? Were you listening to the conversation?"
Yeah.
And he goes, No, I caught it on your credit card, but I just want to tell you, I have lived at 5 different Mark Taylor properties. I currently am at a property right now that is not managed by Mark Taylor, and I want to come back because there's no better literally was saying this. He named his last apartment community, the entire community team, by name, showing me pictures on his phone because he has a dog that he would come down and then all the team members would take pictures. You want to talk about just talent, commitment, right? Just loyalty, embracing what our company is striving to be, right? To continue being. I thought that was just one of the coolest things. So again, Rory, thanks for making my day, and thank you again for the great compliments.
Rory, come back.
Rory, come back. We'll find you, buddy. Don't worry, we'll find you. You've got my phone number now, so anytime you're ready to move when your lease is up, you just let me know. But Jordan wanted to say thank you again.
Adam, you were an excellent host, man.
I appreciate it.
He's fantastic.
I appreciate
I'm not
it.
just saying that.
No,
Thank you.
He's your guy.
Thank you, JC. Always, I've been friends with you for so long. So listening to you when you continue to do your research, ever learner, as you've always told me. You always tell me too that I am loyal to a fault. You say that jokingly.
Stick with me anyway.
You say that jokingly, but I always took that as a compliment. That
is a
means the
compliment.
world to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
is.
means the world to me. So, want to give one last shout out. One of our great followers, a local developer that I have the privilege of working with, Mr. David Free. I understand that you just got married. You're out on your honeymoon. I hope you have a great time. We'll see you when you come back in town, and we'll get those deals built. Thank you once again for joining us, Multifamily Forward, presented by Mark Taylor Consulting. Come back and see us again.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.